everyone, this is another interview series from the Source of Success YouTube channel, and today we are joined by the marvelous model as well as the pageant title holder who is crowned Miss Universe Thailand 2021, Ms.Anchilee Scott-Kemmis. Welcome!
Thank you. สวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you so much for taking your time to join us today, and we look forward to hearing and listening to you share your invaluable insights. Yeah, so without further ado, please allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Hilight, and I am from International Community School, ICS, and one of the passions that I enjoy doing is I enjoy encouraging youth to take part or partake in campaigns, as well as be the spearhead of it. Alongside with that, I also encourage others to sort of interrecognize the connectedness between the social issues in Thailand, our home country, and abroad. Because one of the reasons I enjoy doing that is because I truly think that through understanding, we will be able to find a more nuanced adaptation to the problems and be able to alleviate the crises here in our home country as well.
Hello, my name is Ms.Anchilee Scott-Kemmis, and I come from St.Mark International School. I enjoy learning new things from inspiring people because I'm sure that every single person has something they want to say and something that they want to achieve in their mind. If they put the right effort to it, they would be able to achieve it.
Hello, my name is Meltzer. I am from Verso International School. I enjoy inspiring and helping other people, whether it would be in workout or in physical exercise.
Hello, my name is Universe Thailand. I come from Shrewsbury International School, Bangkok, or SHB, and I value hard work and work ethics. I also believe in people's potential to be their own best, and I also believe that people should not always take criticism.
Please allow us to ask our first question. Could you please introduce yourself and basically give a brief overview of what you've been up to?
So my name is Ms.Anchilee Scott-Kemmis. People just call me Anne, and I have recently just passed on the crown, so we have a new Miss Universe Thailand now, and after the crown, I guess I've gone back into modeling, whether it be runway or photo shoots, but as well as doing a lot of other different things. I never know what to say when people ask me what I do, because I give speeches, I go on talk shows, I go on game shows, I do photo shoots, I do a lot of different things, which include like public speaking as well. So that's essentially what I've been up to.
That's very impressive of you because you're able to do many things at the same time, like multitask. Yeah. So I would like to ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Wow. I don't even know where I see myself next year. In 5 years, I hope I'll still be doing what I'm doing. I feel like the entertainment industry is it's changing a lot, and it's quite a unique industry to be in the sense where you get to talk about things that you find important and advocate for certain things, as well as, bring a different light to representation, which is what I've been trying to do ever since I got into the industry. So I hope to still be in the industry as someone who has a bigger voice.
So, speaking of which, what do you think is your proudest moment in the industry that you're in?
Proudest moment? I think it would be a personal thing that I went through. So after going through Miss Universe Thailand, after competing at Miss Universe, I've had to receive a lot of backlash as a result of not bringing home the crown for Thailand, I guess. And as the months went by, I've learnt to understand myself more, understand my emotions, and take mental health really, really seriously. So my proudest moment would be not being afraid to say that I'm not okay, and therefore allowing myself to overcome it.
I see. So, next question. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was fun. I was a very active child. I went to NIST International School, so we're all kind of rivals here. And I grew up playing sports, studying, I'm sure similar to what you guys go through on a day-to-day, all this stuff I had to go through as well.
I would like to ask you, since you were raised in a mixed culture household, what is it like? Is it has anyone perceived you differently because you've been raised in a Thai Australian culture?
In my household, not so much. My parents have always pulled the good things from each of our cultures to kind of raise my brother and I. But if you're talking about seeing me differently. I was never Thai enough to be Thai, but I was never Australian enough to be Australian. So with that being the case, you kind of learn to adapt. You kind of learn to just embrace that being mixed race or coming from a mixed household is a culture on its own.
So, you went to NIST, right? I did a bit of research, and you're also the captain of your school sports team. So, do you think that played a part in like shaping to who you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the good thing about having to be a leader at such a young age is you learn what works and what doesn't work. And throughout the years, you learn that at the end of the day, like being a good leader is all about listening, being able to listen to people, whether or not you agree with them or whether or not you can help. Essentially, it's all about having that ear for someone.
I totally agree. I think that one of the qualities of being a good leader is being a competent listener and also listening to others' opinions as well, although you may disagree with them, but I think it's very crucial to have that skill.
Yeah. So to add on to that, how did you discover your inner confidence, and what ultimately led you to speaking and becoming a spokesperson?
I think confidence is not a it goes up and down.
Yeah.
We all go through moments where we feel confident and where we don't. So the initial, jump in confidence would have been like when I went to Australia for university. So when I moved over to Australia for university, I wasn't viewed as the big girl. I was just a normal built, average size girl. And when you're surrounded by people like that who accept you for exactly who you are, your confidence naturally just goes up. And then coming back to Thailand, I was automatically back to being, the tall big girl. I couldn't find anything in my size. I didn't see anyone my size represented in the media, which led me to how I kind of came about with being a spokesperson for what I talk about, because I saw that there was a gap in the Thai culture about these things. And we've been ingrained since we were younger that, if you're skinny, you're white, you're tall, you're automatically pretty, clear skin, all that kind of stuff. But there was no one that talked about those girls or those guys that were naturally bigger built. And with that, it kind of just developed into like, why don't I just speak about this? Why don't I try to push for this?
I totally agree that these stereotypes are rather deeply entrenched in our society, and we should find a way to sort of dismantle this and discuss it with others.
So I've researched about your life and also found out that you were studying major in sociology at the University of Australia. So I would like to ask what inspired or made you decide to major in that?
Well, my dad always told me growing up that, the fundamental thing that will never change about society is the fact that we will still have people. We'll still have humans. We still need to interact with each other, and we still need a community and a society. So going into it, I was never good at numbers. That was something I knew I couldn't go into, like finance, accounting, I couldn't do that. And I was always a people person. I've always been good at talking to people, and I enjoyed it. So it just made sense that I went into something that I knew there was a need for in the future, and something I knew that I could excel at. And also, I didn't have much of a choice. Your parents tell you what to do when you're that age.
So where do you think the criticisms that you've received regarding your body stems from, and what are ways to mitigate insecurities that are set by unattainable beauty standards?
I think it stems from the fact that I'm different. I kind of came in really quickly and really loudly that it forced people to have to listen to me. And when it comes to that, when it comes to a gap in representation especially, and there's always going to be disagreement when something needs to be changed. If there was no need for change, no one would be talking about it, no one would be disagreeing with it. And because it was such a new concept in Thailand, and it was like almost an attack to the culture in a way, you're going to receive a lot of criticism for it. Sorry, what was the second part of your question?
What are ways to mitigate, solutions?
For me, the solution I thought of initially was it had to start with representation. You guys are at an age where social media is so big, right? You're living essentially through the lens of a photo. And it's so easy for everything to get ingrained in your head where all you see are skinny or, you know, muscular, whatever it be, unrealistic expectations. So I wanted to come in and represent something that was more real. So my photos that I would post would be organic. I'd never edited them in the sense of like, I'd never squeeze my body. I'd never make myself look skinnier than I actually am. And through that, you start to show people the realness, the authenticity, like the organicness of being human. But then you reach a point where you're like, okay, you just have to set your own standard. If I'm comfortable in my own body, if I still feel confident in my own body, then that's it. That's no one else's business.
I totally agree with you. We should celebrate authenticity, yeah, and also diversity as well. So something different in society may be overlooked and criticized, but I think it is important for us to bridge the generational gap and to lead by example as well.
Yes, you're very impressive. Speaking of which, how do you deal with tension between the Thai and Australian culture?
I've never really experienced that much tension between the two cultures, simply because my parents have learnt to ingrain both of the cultures into who my brother and I are today. We've learnt to pull the good things out and we've learnt to leave the bad things. So with that, I think I owe it to my parents that I've never had a clash between the cultures because of their style of parenting.
I also think it is important for us to extract like the good parts from one culture and also preserve it as well.
Yeah.
As a pageant title holder who was crowned Miss Universe Thailand 2021, how did you represent Thailand at the world stage in Israel?
Well, I wanted to erase that image, not erase, but kind of change the image that some people might have on Thai women, you know, through the media again. You know, we know what the outside world might view Thai women as. So when I went into this universe, I wanted to show them that, one, Thailand can be a very empowering society. You know, we're much more than just women that have been portrayed in TV or in movies. And I wanted to show that we're quite progressive, you know, just bring a whole different light to Thailand. And also because the concept of body positivity or real size beauty is so new to the Thai culture, if I brought that to Miss Universe, I thought it would prove that, wait, we're not a stagnant culture. We're a culture that's constantly striving to be better, striving to develop, and striving to fit into a modern society.
Adding on to your pageantry journey, I would like to ask you on your opinions on whether it is fair for like mixed race individuals to participate and represent Thailand in at a world stage. Do you think that is fair? What are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely. Just because I'm, for example, just because some of us are half of a different culture, it doesn't make us less Thai. At the end of the day, I grew up in Thailand. My values are Thai. You know how you respect elders. I'm sure all you guys, when you walk past someone older, you duck your head.
Yes.
It's something as simple as that makes you Thai. You know, it's the collectiveness. So I don't think it's unfair at all, because then you would be discriminating someone based on their culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
So going back to talk about the Thai and Australian culture again, there's two different cultures. There's going to be differences and some conflicts, and so I would like to ask, how do you deal with the conflict cultures?
How I deal with it, I simply just pull out the good and bad. It's hard for me to answer that because I've never really gone through conflict with the culture. In Australia, maybe a little bit, you know, people didn't really understand why you were so respectful, but I never saw it as a bad thing. It never became a conflict. It was just a part of who I was. And because my values and my principles were so strong and ingrained in who I was, I wasn't going to change that for anyone.
Moving on to the next topic, which is your Real Size Beauty social media campaign. So could you please share with us your journey in initiating the Real Size Beauty social media campaign?
So Real Size Beauty came about in 2021. It was about representation yet again. It was about being able to embrace diversity and individuality, and as well as authenticity. It was much more than just how you looked, but real size beauty kind of came about. If you think about the word real size, it came from everyday size, everyday people. being able to embrace who they were without having the influence of social media affect your confidence. It had nothing to do with, how big or how small you were, how tall or how short. It was just about embracing who you were individually. And with that, you could still be beautiful in your own way. And that's essentially how it came about, and that was the background behind it. It didn't have anything to do with weight.
So speaking of that, what do you hope that campaign, in terms of SDGs, social problems, what kind of problems would that alleviate from the social?
I think a clear one would be inequality, because a lot of people who don't fit into beauty standards or perception, you do actually end up getting discriminated. If there was one that was in the realms of beauty standard and someone that wasn't trying to go for a job with the same qualifications, you go for the more beautifully standard one. And that's just beauty privilege, right? So I think that's a clear link. But there's so many things that you can link to, such as health as well, because real size beauty is not about letting go of your health and still being beautiful. I think you can still be beautiful no matter how you look, as long as you look after your health, because at the end of the day, your health comes first. Your well-being comes first, both physically and mentally.
Health before beauty.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you a question about campaigns. So what are your thoughts on youth being the leader or initiating campaigns?
I think it's great. I think we have such different thinking methods and thinking styles to our parents' generation. And I think we're a lot more daring.
Yeah.
So being able to advocate, not being afraid to speak, I think is really inspiring. And it's youth like you guys, initiating stuff like this, talking about things that you're passionate about, I think really will bring a change to this world. I can't tell you how incredible you guys are, just for simply being able to think of this and doing all this.
Do you mind if I play devil's advocate with you a little?
Yeah, go.
Okay, so I would like to ask you, some people may view how youth leading campaigns is sort of nonsensical, maybe, because it diverts attention from the actual objective of the campaign itself, because they may view youth as naive and receptive, and their naiveness and receptiveness will lead them to making inappropriate decisions because they're too inexperienced. So what are your thoughts on how people outsiders may view this, and how it diverts attention from the actual objective of the campaign?
I think the youth are the future. Essentially it's the world that we have to live in is the world that you guys are creating. So I think it would be naive for the older people, the people on the outside, to say that you guys are naive, because that's just not the case. The future is literally dependent on you guys. So I would ignore it, really. I really would, yeah. Because it's not like you guys are being, you're being sensible about it. You're critical thinkers, you do your research, you form your own opinions. And most importantly, I think with you guys is you share your opinions, and whether or not you agree or disagree, you have that conversation about how to go forward.
Why did you choose Miss Universe Thailand to perform your campaign?
I think a lot of people have this perception that pageantry is all about beauty. And don't get me wrong, to an extent it is, but it's changed a lot now. Every girl that goes into pageantry has a purpose, has a reason to why as they want to go. Yeah. And we can't deny that the platform we get, especially from Miss Universe Thailand, is powerful. Yes. You've got a lot of people listening to you and wanting to know what you have to say. So I thought it was appropriate to bring something new to pageantry. And growing up, I've also always been told I should be doing pageantry because I was mixed race. You get that. I was tall, I was half Thai, I'm half Australian. It was just someone everyone would tease you about. Yeah. So in the back of my mind, I was always I wouldn't mind trying it. And then I had just finished uni, and it was it was during COVID as well. So if it was the time to try something new, try something different, it would be now. So I was lucky enough to meet my team and then kind of explain to them what I'm explaining to you guys now, and they were like, yeah, let's go for it.
Speaking of your advocacy at the world stage, what are your thoughts on the power and value of advocacy?
I think with advocacy, it forces people to think. It forces people to have these conversations. And through the conversations, I think that's when change occurs. It doesn't happen overnight, but it allows them to think about it. It allows them for it to just like subconsciously sit in their mind. And I think that's how change slowly starts to happen.
Yep. I would like to add on a little. So, like, as you may know, we live in a diet-driven society where, like, weight may equate to your worth, and that also will potentially lead to how people will put you into, like, restrictive diets and also stereotypes. So, what are your thoughts on this, and how does Real Size Beauty tackle this problem?
I think it's dangerous, you know. Advertising is a very powerful type of marketing. Like when you see ads on TV, you have to understand that you guys are seeing something that's being shot over 3 days to get the perfect, 30-second ad. And it gets ingrained. So it's really, really dangerous. But what I actually see happening is a lot of ads now are all about embracing, especially if you see like the major corporations. So I recently became a brand ambassador for Colgate, and we shot an ad where none of us have perfect teeth. Like me and my ambassador, we both had like wonky little teeth, and they still like embraced it. It's small changes like that really can show that influence on the change of thinking. So I do believe that the toxicity is starting to change a bit. But how Real Size Beauty can show that is, one, I've never accepted jobs that, one, I don't believe in, two, that have anything to do with weight, because it's something that, even though it might be harmless, people don't actually realize the subconscious effect it has. You can be scrolling through Instagram, for example, and you see this beautiful woman in a swimsuit with abs. If you start seeing something a bit more different, you start accepting it more. So that's what Real Size Beauty really tries to do.
Like slowly influence, like step by step.
Yeah. You don't want to rush it. And permanent change doesn't happen overnight. It takes years and years, especially in a culture where certain perceptions and standards have been ingrained for like centuries.
I think this is also one of the reasons why we as youth should support grassroots campaign, because it's very important that we take like small steps that lead to profound and major impacts in the future.
So, like, what are your thoughts on how body size or weight determine the health of an individual?
The health of an individual?
Like, how body size or weight determine the health of an individual? What are your thoughts on that?
I think I'm not a doctor. Okay, I just want to make that really clear. But I think it can be quite dangerous. BMIs and all that stuff, I think can be quite dangerous. I work out 4 or 5 times a week. It's physically impossible for my body size to look like the standard model size without me influencing my health. And because of an example like that, I think it's really dangerous, because we have to understand that each body is so different. We've got different ways our muscles work, depending on the type of exercises our bodies are used to. So, yeah, I think it's quite dangerous. As long as you and your doctor says that you're healthy and you're comfortable in your own skin, I think that just has to be it. Like, you're worth so much more than how you look. You're someone's son, you're someone's daughter, you could be someone's mother, sister, father, whatever it may be. Your worth should come from the positive impact you have on people, rather than something superficial as you're out of beauty.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. How like weight is not equal to both your worth as well as your health, because as you said earlier, we need to our bodies function differently, and it doesn't mean that if you have abs that means that you're healthy. Because some models who have abs might as well not be as healthy as well. So I think body appearances doesn't determine how healthy you are. Yeah, so my question would be, what are your thoughts on how some people might view your statement of accepting oneself as unrealistic and unimportant in comparison to a big global and social issues like education, poverty. Yeah.
You know, if you don't embrace yourself, you don't accept yourself, and you're having these internal battles about who you are and the comfort you have in your own skin, then you're not in a position to be tackling the bigger problems. You're not in a position to be trying to help other people when you can barely help yourself. I think that's really essential. I mean, you know, everyone talks about like how you need to love yourself, but it's so cliche. But you have to remember, like, cliches are cliches for a reason. So until you can tackle the issues you have with yourself, I don't think you're in a position to be able to tackle something that other people rely on you for.
So like, you know, you speak a lot, you're like a public speaker, you have to speak like quite a lot, especially with like your campaign. So like, could you share tips on how to like improve public speaking skills, like body language, expression, gestures, postures, something like that?
My biggest advice would be use your eyes. Your eyes are weapons. If you can grasp the attention of someone by making eye contact with anyone in the audience, you automatically force them to listen. You automatically show that you're owning the room. So use your eyes, but when you use your eyes, make sure they're sincere. Make sure that what you're talking about is also something you're passionate about, something that you really feel like you can influence. And when you're speaking from the heart, with your eyes being as powerful as they are, you can really grasp the attention of people.
Adding on to public speaking skills, I've seen reels in which they cut out parts where you, like your responses to like Miss Universe Thailand's questions. How do you have that wittiness to like answer the questions very quickly and fast? And how do you have the confidence as well, yes.
My legs were shaking, guys, that day. I was walking on stage and I was shaking. I was confident, but I was so scared. But in terms of like how I was able to respond so quickly was, one, I've been training for it, okay? Like pageantry looks easy from the outside, but you're training hours and hours and hours and hours a day for months at a time. So you learn to just like go with the first thing that goes into your mind. But if I were to ask you guys any of those questions, I don't doubt that you can do the same thing I did, because it was how we were brought up. We were brought up in an environment where we're forced to think for ourselves. You know, if you have a opinion and you can back it up with evidence and you can conclude it, then who are they to say your opinion's wrong? Because you've got something to prove that's why you think that way. So I owe it to my environment, which is the same environment as you guys, and I owe it to my team for forcing me to practice. But also, when you're so focused on something, you're focused on winning, you go on autopilot. You'd be surprised what your body can do when you have a very, very clear goal in your head.
So I would like to move on to the aspect of social media and how you also use this as like an advocacy space for your campaign as well. So in our contemporary society, what do you want students and also netizens to gain from viewing you online, or what issues would you like to address?
I want people to look at me as just an average 23-year-old girl. I don't want people to really see too much of the behind the scenes, in the sense of like the made up stuff. You know, I want people to see realness, see authenticity, because that's essentially who I am. Like I'm very straight up, and I've been too straight up sometimes that it's gotten me in trouble. But I think that also shows why we need to be more straight up. So I want people to see more of that, because then I think that would encourage them to be more real. Because I know that a lot of people get put on a pedestal because of their influence on social media. And I don't think that's wrong. I think it goes into the responsibility that person has on how they portray themselves. Because you've got a massive responsibility when you've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people following you and watching what you do. And that is immense influence. So if you handle it well, if you show realness, if you show authenticity, if you share your opinions and allow for people to share theirs, I think it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Are there any other particular like social issues or global issues at large that you would like to tackle or address, like for instance, like climate change or environmentally orientated issues? Yeah.
I think climate change, I mean, I'm not that much older than you guys, you know? Like, if anything, we're quite similar in age. And the reality is, like, we have to live in a world where resources are running out, you know, pollution, coughing every other day. Like, it's such an important thing for us and the generations that are coming after us. For us to be able to live in, like, even the slightest bit of comfort in terms of, like, for our health. So I want to use my platform to advocate for climate change, but it's such a big issue that you have to go through it very carefully because of the sensitivity of it.
What small steps do you think we should take in order to solve climate change?
Small steps? I think education on it is really important. You can't do something until you really understand the full extent of it. You know, we grew up hearing all the issues about climate change, but we never really knew exactly what was going on. So until we understand that, I think we can't really do too much, because you can recycle, but are you sure that the stuff you put in the recycle bin don't get combined later?
Yeah.
Are you sure that you can be turning off the aircon, but someone else is turning it on at the same time? So there's so many details that go into it that you cannot take a step forward until we have the proper education for it, and it is like almost in your face every day.
Yeah. Where do you think we should get that education? Like YouTube, like search up how to deal with it, or where should we get that education?
Observe. Just observe what our weather is like every day right now. We're literally dealing with floods, which hasn't happened in years. You know, if you look at these types of things, you realize, wait, there's a massive change, and it's happening so quickly. You can read the news and you can see all the weird storms that are going on around the world, or the biggest like iceberg starting to melt a lot faster than we expect. Just observe, and you will start to realize that it's not time to play anymore.
What are your thoughts on cyberbullying, about body and height shaming? So
It sucks.
yeah, it does.
It sucks. Simple as that. I reached the point of like wanting to commit suicide because of it. Bullying in no shape or form is okay, yet alone cyberbullying. You're sitting there behind a screen talking terribly about someone who you don't even know. Especially when it comes to their body. You know, like sometimes it's natural for you to be insecure, but have you ever thought that maybe that person thought about it before? You know, maybe they're already giving themselves a hard time. So, I don't know. I can only say it sucks, because it's only something I've recently just overcame. You know, I don't have advice, or I don't have anything philosophical to say about it, because it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like it sucks.
You like receive quite a lot of like negative comments from what I've heard. Like, so like, how do you overcome those negative comments that are thrown at you throughout the college?
I have a really good support system. My team, my family, my friends, they never gave me more value or less value based on how I look. It was always about how I would think, what I had to say, what I was able to bring to a room. And when you're around people like that who just listen as well, it helps a lot. But also it's always about looking for the silver lining in things. Overcoming it, I just had to think back like, damn, like I'm so strong now.
Yeah.
You know, like you can say anything about me and it wouldn't bat an eye, because the person I am today, like I'm 23, but no negative comment can hurt me, because they never had to go through it. They've never had to stand on an international stage representing a country.
Exactly.
While, you know, receiving so much backlash at the same time from the people in your country. So until you've reached that point, I don't think you're one to be able to talk yet.
So did you like do anything to respond to them, or you just brush them off, not gonna care?
I've responded to some. I have. You know, sometimes you can't help yourself.
Yeah.
I've responded to some. But I would never respond in a like mean way. I would never be disrespectful. I would always pose a question. I remember one person was like, The real one, like, do you guys understand Thai? Okay. ตัวจริงใหญ่มากน่ากลัว And I responded back saying, like, have you forgotten that I'm also a human being? And when you respond with stuff like that, I think it cuts deeper to the other person. But you're not saying anything mean, you're just posing a question. So I've done those. But now I ignore it. I'm happy, I'm strong. It doesn't bother me anymore.
Do you mind speaking about like ostracism? Like, have you ever experienced ostracism in any way?
What does that mean?
Like, like left out, right? Leave out.
Yeah. I think it would be in the culture aspect where it's like I was never Thai enough to be Thai, but never Australian enough to be Australian. And I think that's why a lot of mixed race people stick together.
Yes.
Because no one really understands what you go through until someone else has gone through it. Yeah.
Yes. I agree that it is very important for us to have like a strong support network like behind the scenes, because they're kind of like the powerhouse for us, and they motivate us to continue every single day. So I've seen how you participated in debate tournaments. How do you think those debate tournaments impact society?
I think it's all about giving alternate perspectives and points of views. I think it's points of views that allow for the thought kind of process to happen, to occur. So they help in that way. But I also think in that way, it also helps you become really good at sorting out what you're thinking in your head very, very quickly. So you become a lot more responsive. You're quick on your feet. So there's a lot of things that go into it that's more than just about sharing opinions. It's all about personal development as well.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms.Anchilee, for taking your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Do you have any advice for all of us? Since like you've been in international school, like all of us, any advice at all?
Yeah.
What year are you guys in?
It's like different
9.
systems.
I'm in grade 9.
Yeah,
Okay.
grade
Yeah.
9 as well.
9. So you just entered high school.
Yes.
NJ High School.
Okay.
I'm also in like grade 9 in high school called year 10.
Yep. Okay. Yep. You're 10.
So we're sort of experiencing.
So you're just about to go to high
transition.
school. Oh
Yeah.
my god! I would. There's gonna be moments where you're gonna hate it. It's natural, but enjoy it, because you'll look back and it's the time for you guys to learn. It's the time for you guys to make mistakes and figure out what you like and what you don't like. And it's okay as well if you don't know what it is, Everything has a really funny way of falling into place. It could be about a girl or a guy, like high school kind of stuff. Enjoy it. Actually just enjoy it, because the next 4 years will be the time where you experience a lot of your firsts, whatever it may be. You can't get a first time back again. So enjoy every single second of it. It goes by so fast.
Do you miss high school?
So much. I was telling my boyfriend the other day, I was like, I miss it. Like, it was so, you didn't have to do much, but you did so much at the same time. You're not going to be in an environment where you get to learn as much as you can, see your friends every single day,
Wow.
get to play sports that you love or do creative things that you enjoy. You're not going to be able to experience that all over again. You start to have responsibilities, and you have to grow up at one point. So just enjoy it. I'm living through you guys right now.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining us
guys.
today.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I hope you fellow audiences also have gained invaluable insights from Ms.Anchilee Scott-Kemmis.
Bye.
Bye.